Proverbs 4, verse 7. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and in all thy getting, get understanding.
Listen, with inaccuracy, they try to get at me, but can't even fathom what it takes to be like a nigga like me.
This is Literary Interest as of late. I am Sam Young-Bey, your host, and as always, welcome to the show. On this episode, we'll be thumbing through. This is part 3 of the We Are the People series, aka Sovereign Citizen Literature. Some of the pages will cover common law is common sense, U.S. codes, USC 18 subsection 242, Congress cannot alter rights, and later you'll hear government de facto and or government de jure. So let's get into it. Page 1, Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson said, "Whenever people are well informed, they can be trusted with their own government." Also on page 1, common law is common sense. Common law is common sense. The question each jurist must ask himself is there an injured party? There is a common law principle which states that for there to be a crime, there must first be a victim, corpus delicti. The state cannot be the injured party. In the absence of a victim, there can be no crime. This is what the grand jurist must discover. Page 4, sheriffs. Sheriff, America will never be destroyed from the outside. If we falter and lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves. Abraham Lincoln. Sheriffs took an oath to obey and defend the Constitution from enemies foreign and domestic. In the history of our world, it is government tyranny that has violated the freedoms granted to us by our Creator more than any other. And it is the duty of the sheriff to protect his country from those who would take away our freedoms, both foreign and domestic, whether it is a terrorist from Yemen or a bureaucrat from Washington, D.C. Also on page 4, U.S. codes. Remedy of the people when rights are violated. Page 5, USC 18 subsection 242. USC 18 subsection 242, deprivation of rights under color of law. Whoever under color of any law, statute, ordinance, regulation, or custom willfully subjects any person in any state to the deprivation of any rights shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 1 year or both. Page 7, all men decide for themselves. All men decide for themselves whether they want to participate in the institutions of men or not. The United States Supreme Court confirmed this when they said every man is independent of all laws except those prescribed by nature. He is not bound by any institutions formed by his fellow man without his consent. Cruden v. Neal, 2 NC 338, May term 1796. Since you're still here, here's a few more. Page 8, only people can judge. Only people can judge. Our U.S. Constitution only authorizes common law courts, aka courts of record. A court of record removes the power of the judge to make a ruling. His role is that of the administrator of the court. The final determinator is the tribunal, who is either the sovereign plaintiff or a jury. Remember, the servant cannot rule over the master. Can the clay rule over the potter? Page 18, Congress cannot alter rights. On the other hand, it is clear that Congress cannot, by authorization or ratification, give the slightest effect to any state law or constitution which is in conflict with the Constitution of the United States. 16 A.M. Jur. 2D, Section 258. Page 47 through 48, Government de facto and Government de jure. Government de facto. A government of fact exercising power and control in the place of true and lawful government. A government not established according to the Constitution of the nation, not lawfully entitled to recognition or supremacy, but which has nevertheless supplanted or displaced the government de jure. A government deemed unlawful or wrongful and unjust, which nevertheless receives habitual obedience from the bulk of the community. De facto government. That was government de facto. De facto government. A government that maintains itself by a display of force against the will of the legal government, and is successful at least temporarily in overturning the institutions of the rightful government by setting up its own government in lieu thereof. Wortham v. Walker, 133, text 255, 128 SW 2D, 1138, 1145. Government de jure. A government of right, a true and lawful government, a government established according to the Constitution of the nation or state, and lawfully entitled to recognition and the administration of the nation, although actually cut off from power or control. A government deemed lawful, rightful, and just, which has been nevertheless supplanted or displaced, which receives not habitual obedience from the bulk of the community. Du jour. A condition in which there has been total compliance with all requirements of law, of right, legitimate, lawful, by right and just title. In this sense, it is the contrary of de facto. It may also be contrasted with de gratia, in which case it means as a matter of right, as de gratia means by grace or favor. Again, it may be contrasted with de equitate, here meaning by law, as the latter means by equity. Source IBID, Black's Law Dictionary, 6th edition, with pronunciation. Now there are more books in this We the People series, aka Sovereign Citizen Literature. But I only chose these three. These were the first three that I read in the series of its 5 total books. They're available on Amazon. Not that I'm getting paid by Amazon or I'm trying to plug Amazon, but they're on Amazon for $5 a piece. If you want to go and get them yourselves and then do a deeper reading of your own and study also, I would recommend, as I do always, dictionaries. Use dictionaries. Even it stated in the book how some of the definitions were referenced from Black's Law and things of that nature. So as you're reading these books, read them with dictionaries, because it is very important to have a true meaning, a true understanding of what these books and the words in them are trying to portray from their original meaning, because things are used connotatively, and if we are misled by the connotative, then we are caught up in the legalese, and therefore we are spellbound. But if we understand the denotation, what that word actually means in its origin, and as it applies to terms and conditions, or as it applies with terms and conditions, based on whatever the source topic is at that time. So you have to apply a little bit of etymology, pick up a dictionary as you read these books, and go in deep. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, subscribe to my channel. Let me get a like down here so YouTube will know what's going on. And hit that notification bell also. And leave a comment too. Alright?
In the midst of all the fury, with infernos blazing hot, 10 toes in, still I stand, not consumed with all the fire. Like the Hebrew boys drug before the viceroys, you raise the temper high. You still see me roaming freely, dancing in all of the light.